Yo, Vapor Man here, and I'm back with another scat review of the bovine excrement that Janelle 9 had put out on a current affairs recently. Oh, that's gross, don't vape with a mask on.
Disposable e-cigarettes are the new craze in schools. They look like harmless USB sticks, but they pack a nicotine punch. Many parents wouldn't have a clue their kid is even smoking them.
First of all, vaping them. There's no smoke in a vaporizer. That's the point.
Pocket-sized, brightly coloured, easy to use. They look like thumb drives, but don't be fooled.
I don't know from what decade you were buying thumb drives, but that's pretty big for a thumb drive.
These are dangerous products and they shouldn't be in the hands of Australian kids.
Here's a piece of journalism for you. When somebody says that's a dangerous product, you might want to ask the question, how is it a dangerous product? And why is it a dangerous product? I mean, I didn't go to journalism school or anything, but might be nice to know. I'd certainly like to know if that's the case.
It's illegal.
No, it's not illegal. It's actually perfectly legal. You just have to import it.
The latest craze among
And get a prescription.
teenagers, a fruity accessory with very real health risks.
Okay, the latest craze includes 1%. Okay? I remember when I was in primary school, when I was in high school, you'd have like marbles or yo-yos. That was a craze and more than 1% of the kids were doing it. You can't say vaping is the latest craze when 1% of 14 to 17-year-olds vape and 3% smoke.
These small plastic pods contain a substance that is a scheduled poison here in Australia.
And it is also perfectly purchasable by 13-year-olds in lethal amounts in fruit-flavoured gum form.
Even those in the industry condemn them.
I think they're evil.
I edit videos and stuff. I've been doing it for my life, right? Let me just give you a little glimpse into how this all works, okay? First, you have the dramatic music in the background. And then you just take a snippet. Let's see. What do you think of ACA?
I think they're evil.
See how that works?
They're disposable e-cigarettes and they're infiltrating schools at an alarming rate.
Once again, if 1% is an alarming rate when smoking is at 3%, then you get alarmed very easily.
What do you think they might be?
Maybe a whistle, I don't know.
A whistle. I worry for this mother's children.
Looks like a whistle. Yeah, but no idea.
So does it concern you as a mum that this is possibly the latest craze for young children?
Is it tobacco there inside?
Nicotine.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it would concern for sure, because if someone offered this to my kid and say that's a whistle or something, they would get it.
You know,
Lady, if somebody offered that to your kid and they were like, that looks like a whistle, they got bigger problems than starting smoking or vaping.
given the colours and how they look and how small they are, that it's targeting young people?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you just look at them and it's like they're made for kids.
Made for kids. R2-D2's appendage over here that I'm sucking on. Made for kids.
It's disgusting.
These disposable e-cigarettes are preloaded with 5% nicotine.
It's 50 milligrams.
And with a ready charged battery, they're good to go. They come in an array of flavours and colours, and most are manufactured in China.
This manufactured in China thing always chuffs me. It's like the phone that you have that has the fruit symbol on it. Where do you think that's made? You put that next to your head every day, and yet you're not worried about that exploding or being manufactured poorly. I mean, people talk about being racist. Yeah, sure, there are shoddy products that come out of China, but just because it's out of China doesn't mean it's shoddy.
One pod has roughly the nicotine equivalent of 2.5 packets of cigarettes.
2.5 packets of cigarettes. And later on in the story, they say it costs like $15 or something. You know what I call that? Good value. These days, you want to buy 2.5 packs of cigarettes, you're looking at $100, easy.
And most kids are finishing them in a day or two.
How do you know that? You sit there and watch them vape them? Most kids are finishing them within a day or two. What's your point of reference for that? Interesting.
So very high levels of nicotine.
We wanted to see just how easy it is to purchase one of these pods, which should be illegal to sell in Australia.
Our producer Matt has just gone into this corner store to see what is on offer. It's a place that we've been told sells disposable e-cigarettes. So Matt, you've just come out of the shop. We'll be clear you did not purchase anything, but what happened inside?
Yeah, when I went in, I asked if they sell sticks, which is what the kids call these vaping devices. The guy behind the counter went into the back of the shop and actually asked somebody behind there if they could sell them to me. They had them underneath the counter and they were in little packets. He asked me what flavour I wanted. I said pineapple. He said he had them and then they were $15 each.
You know, I've seen ACA take secret cameras into different places and film things undercover. What, this producer on Channel 9 doesn't have $15 to buy a piece of evidence in a report? Interesting. Once again, I would like to take this opportunity to let you know some of the benefits of nicotine. Number one, it improves concentration so that you can actually do some decent reporting, be alert, maybe have the foresight to bring in a hidden camera. Number two, it's an appetite suppressant.
From stores to schoolyards and even inside classrooms.
With many of the younger ones, the 12, 13-year-olds, it's not registering that these are nicotine-filled devices that are going to make them addicted to nicotine and even...
Kids aren't that dumb. Trust me, if they're vaping because they want the high, right? There were kids when I went to high school who were smoking cigarettes. The only difference is now they're doing it safer and they're doing it at a declining rate, and those who are doing it are switching from cigarettes to vaporizers. Once again, the statistics are 3% of kids between 14 to 17 smoke cigarettes, 1% vape, and of that 1%, 0.5% had vaped first before getting addicted to cigarettes or before trying cigarettes or having a cigarette. So there's no research here. They're just wild allegations.
Addicted to the process of...
Those are government figures, by the way.
...inhaling and exhaling a substance.
They're small, they're easy to use.
Christine Delgado is a school principal and deputy president of the Secondary Principals Council.
When you take young teenagers who have never smoked and probably never even considered smoking, have these seemingly fun things, they're going to get addicted.
How easy is it for students to use these products at school?
Well, because the vapes are so small, it's very easy for a student to put their elbow on their desk and put their hand up to their face and be vaping.
First of all, they're bigger than cigarettes. Did you notice that? And let me tell you why kids aren't sparking up cigarettes in class. Because they stink. Because the teacher will find out within 5 seconds if one of their students is smoking a cigarette in the class. Here's what's probably happening in the class. Not that I've been to a kid's class or anything, but I know what it was like back in the day. Somebody would pull out their little device and go and laugh their asses off. Once again, kids, if you're watching and you want a nicotine high, go buy fruit-flavoured nicotine gum. You can stuff 9 of them in your mouth and get 39 milligrams of nicotine at once. Don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, I'm just saying it's perfectly legal for you to do that, which is a bit insane. But once again, if the concern is nicotine here, there are other ways of kids to get it that are perfectly legal.
In class, and no one detects it. And the whole point of the...
And no one detects it. Wow, some great teachers you're the principal of, right?
Vapes is to suck these young kids in.
No. The reason vaporizers were invented back in like 2004 was as a safer alternative for smokers. It was and it is a safer delivery for nicotine for those who are already addicted.
To becoming smokers.
How are students getting hold of these? Is there a black market?
Well, the way the students are getting them is from under the counter.
And once again, what's stopping these people from selling things under the counter illegally, selling them things that are legal for 18-year-olds under the counter to underage people? The same is true of alcohol. The same is true of cigarettes. Enforce the law. It doesn't matter if you make these small devices legal or illegal. It's not going to stop people from selling, if they are selling it under the counter, which they've provided no evidence for. If they are doing it, they're going to do it anyway with cigarettes. Enforce the damn laws in the store. Don't make something just a blanket ban on everything.
And then they come back into their friendship group and are selling them at double the price.
What, are you a communist?
And so there's a bit of criminality and illegal trafficking going on.
She has no idea what she's talking about. It's exactly like the teachers when I was in high school.
The statistics back that up. 66% of 14 to 17-year-olds obtained their e-cigarettes from friends or family.
Here's the interesting thing I'd like to know. You can't legally buy nicotine in Australia. So if you're underage, how else could you possibly be getting them than from friends or family? What, is there a supplier of pets and dogs who are supplying kids with these things? Once again, of the 1% of 14 to 17s who vape, 66% of that 1% are getting it through friends and families. Okay, and?
According to the latest figures from the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, there's been a 12% spike in the past 3 years in 15 to 24-year-olds using e-cigarettes and around
15 to 24-year-olds. Yes, once again, e-cigarettes are a new thing. Of course, the numbers are going to be rising, right? 10 years ago, I didn't even know e-cigarettes existed. Now they're becoming more on the market. You're being able to see all the benefits from this as compared to smoking. And once again, that statistic, 24-year-olds? You're including 24-year-olds in the statistics? Well, from infants to 18, a large proportion of them drink. What kind of statistic is that? My God!
Around 73% of surveyed teenagers tried them out of curiosity.
Once again, teenagers, if you're 18, you're probably going to try a beer out of curiosity. If you're 18 and somebody's smoking a cigarette, you're probably going to try it. You're probably going to have one puff and go, no, that's actually crap. Why do you smoke that stuff?
None of these are pre-filled with nicotine.
Andrew Cameron owns House of...
None of the ones you're selling are pre-filled with nicotine. And these little cigarette-like devices are by nature pre-filled with nicotine. So of course you're against them. They go against your market share.
Vape and wants to make one thing clear about preloaded pods.
They're not what we see as vaping.
They're also not what you'll see in his store because he can't legally sell any device preloaded. That's not by choice, that's by law. And if there are a lot of people who don't get all nerdy into it like me and like the temperature control and the wattage control and all of this sort of stuff, they just want a simple device to get them off the cigarettes. These preloaded devices are perfect for them. Once again, not for me, but I'm not going to call for these things to be banned. Because if you look at a video up here, I explain it a little bit more, but if you've got a 90-year-old grandma who's been smoking for like 80, 75 years, the high strength stuff, the reds, right? She's going to be looking at you going, buy them off the internet? Isn't that where scams happen? That's where the scams happen. These devices are perfect for those kinds of people. The ones who don't want to, pressing a button and inhaling at the same time is too complicated because they've always just gone and that's it.
He is an advocate for vaping, but has real concerns.
Are you? Are you an advocate for vaping? Or are you an advocate for your store and the products you sell? I'd like to have a chat with you and see if you pull your head in.
For our kids.
They're becoming nicotine dependent when they don't need to be.
Nobody needs to be nicotine dependent. It happens. Sometimes your parents smoke and you get all that secondhand smoke. And then you get a little bit older and they're not around anymore. And you get a bit nostalgic when you smell that smell and you're drunk at a party and it just happens. Nobody needs to be nicotine dependent, definitely not children. Even though it's perfectly legal for them to go and buy as much gum and sprays and stuff as they want, featuring nicotine, featuring fruit flavors.
And this is why we need to push for a regulatory, legalised model for Australia around vaping. That will eradicate these type of problems and people selling them under the counter.
No, it will not eradicate these type of problems, because if you're selling things under the counter illegally, what do you think? All of a sudden they're going to be like, oh, well, it's illegal now. We're not going to sell it anymore. Those engaged in criminal behaviour will continue to do the criminal behaviour even if you change a law on one type of e-cigarette, one type of vaporizer. You, sir, are an idiot.
The size makes preloaded e-cigarettes easy to disguise, but so does the vapor. Professor Terry Slevin is CEO of the Public Health Association Australia.
If these products are aimed at kids and they have nicotine content, and particularly at that level, then there's no doubt this is a very deliberate strategy to addict children to nicotine.
Once again, what about those smokers who are smoking the high-strength cigarettes? The older smokers, the ones who've been doing it for decades. Do you think a 1 or 2 milligram juice is going to get them off the cigarettes? It's the reason the gums don't work for half the people. If you're smoking a 16 milligram cigarette, I don't even know how much milligrams cigarettes have, because even the plain packaging laws in this country don't allow consumers to know what they're putting in their body. But let me tell you, if you're smoking a 16 milligram cigarette and you try anything that's different from a habit that you've had for like 40 years, and it's not even approaching 16 milligrams, you got no chance. 50 milligrams is perfect for those people. Bang, one hit, nicotine high, wow, this works. I don't feel like a cigarette anymore because I've got my whole hit of the whole cigarette in like one puff. Perfect for those people. This idiot doesn't know what he's talking about.
It's a money-making scam, it's dangerous, and we need to make every possible effort to stop it from happening.
Money-making scam on a program that's meant to inform you, sliced up into little segments in between money-making scams called commercials. Most of them targeted at children. Get them while they're young.
If the average 20
He's lobbied hard against tobacco for 35 years.
Just on a side note here, did any of you ever watch one of these cigarette commercials, being in the middle of quitting and then just really felt like a cigarette? I mean, I know they're disgusting and everything, but the whole mind of an addict, I guess.
We all remember ads with shock value, which help drive down cigarette smoking rates. According to Terry Slevin, we're in a nastier war with a more potent enemy.
We're seeing these being marketed in the way we saw tobacco being marketed,
No, you're not seeing these marketed at all. I took my dog for a walk the other day, and on the side of the bus was a big sticker on it. And you know what it had on there? The Nicotine sprays, fruit flavour. That's marketing. Do you know what's not marketing? Not seeing it anywhere, going into a vape shop where everything has to be closed and shutters and it looks like they're shutting down. Marketed towards children? On what planet? Well, maybe on this planet, but not in Australia.
20, 30, 40 years ago. And we're seeing kids taking it up as a way of rebelling. Kids can see through the vape and mist and see the fact that this is just another industry trying to pick their pockets and get them addicted for lifetime.
Like many other industries, including the alcohol industry and the caffeine industry.
A potentially deadly rebellion that's sucking kids in.
No, you know what's a potentially deadly rebellion? Smoking cigarettes is a potentially deadly rebellion. There have been no facts in this thing as to why e-cigarettes are dangerous or why these particular fluorescent... Actually, these are the same Koovies that they were advertising on the ABC video up here. Kudos to Channel 9 for not giving them a free advert, because that's illegal in this country. But kudos to 9 for that at least. And also, I've got to say, in the past, Channel 9 has done some reasonable, balanced stories on vaping. But latest trends with this fly-by-night ban and all the other stuff that's going on is a very worrying trend, we should all be worried.
While they know it's a bit naughty, they don't really understand that it's dangerous, and they...
But I thought they didn't know. I thought they know it's a bit naughty. I thought it was just some whistle that somebody gives them and they puff on it and they don't know what's going on. How do they know it's naughty if they don't know there's freaking nicotine in there?
don't understand that it's illegal.
Lady, I could fill a book with what you don't understand.
And so the government needs to play a part in protecting our youth.
Sure, there I agree. You know how you do that? Regulation.
Don't ruin
Going after people who are selling them illegally. That's how you protect children. Not by having a blanket ban on people who are trying to quit smoking.
lives.
Ruin lives.
In New South Wales, fines for selling nicotine e-cigarettes to people under 18 can be as high as $110,000.
110,000. Geez, you wouldn't want to make a living through speaking, would you? Get it out, Tracy. Today, Junior. Jesus, where's Gordon Ramsay when you need him? Look, before this, there was a segment on COVID, right? We should all wear masks to protect the elderly and stop the spread of the disease. I'm all for that. I wear a mask, right? As uncomfortable and annoying as it is, I wear it to protect my community. But I'm under 40. I know the statistics. My chances of dying of COVID are less than 1%. I'm not wearing this to protect myself. I'm far more scared of going back to the cigarettes than I am of catching COVID-19. I'm wearing this to protect other people. And once again, I'll get e-juice, I'll get Nick, I'll be fine, I'll have my freezer stocked up, I guess, right? But it's about protecting the community. If you don't know, now you know.
Come on, do it now!